This is Starry Eyed Fighters, Episode 3. Today we'll be reading Chapter 6. This reading is read by Jairi Crowell and Daily Hernandez. Chapter 6. Reihai City, the City of Cryptids. The sign above the barrier to the city limits emitted a purple and white hue, reading Reihai City, for all eyes to peer. Hand in hand, Belle and Rex would stand next to each other with radically different expressions on their face. Rex appeared far happier than Belle, feeling the nostalgia of home, and Belle physically showed that she wanted to be 50 feet further away from the city's limits. Rex began to pull Belle along before a firm tug would stop him from moving any further. "What's wrong? Cold feet?" Rex asked as he turned around with a concerned look. As Rex turned, he would see Belle appear as stiff as a board with a rather dour expression. Her discontent turning into a serious gaze, Belle would ask,
"Rex, of all the places you could drag me to, why would it have to be here?"
Rex took note of Belle's worsening mood and adjusted his accordingly. "I get that you're worried being an elf and all." Rex brought his and Belle's clasped hand up towards their faces. "But I've got a plan. Just keep a level and low head and stick close to me."
Rex, I don't think you quite just get how dangerous it is for an elf to be here.
Belle's gaze lingered towards the rugged terrain of the city's outer limits.
I'm not afraid of much, but cryptids are one of the few things that put fear in me.
"Miss Belle, hold on a second. If you want, I can take you back to the village, and I can deliver your question to my aunt by myself," Rex stated, offering a second option to Belle. "Though, after what I saw you do at the brick road, and our little scrap we had, you're one tough cookie." Belle looked back up to Rex as he continued, "I doubt any of the cryptids here could hurt you, 'cause I won't let them." The ever-recurring sincerity in Rex's voice would motivate Belle to temporarily move past the mental roadblock she had set for herself. In all reality, she had never seen nor met a cryptid in person, though the stories the elves and her granddad had told her would make checking that off on her bucket list a very low priority. Taking a few deep breaths, Belle would remoralize herself in order to keep moving herself forward.
Come this far, if I turn back now, I know I would regret not learning what happened to me parents for the rest of my days.
Belle confessed.
Let's go, Rex.
Mortal and immortal men have limited information of what goes on in Reihai City. Many believe it to be the birthplace of cryptid species and the place they are most willing to do their dirty deeds. No one person would ever want to find themselves in Reihai City, lest they have a purpose that needed to be kept under the table, so to speak. The city itself was initially a small village in Antarctica, though an unusual occurrence caused that village to merge with another dimension. The result of the merge twisted the land and shrouded the town in a dome of pitch black with only the occasional light peeking through. The cryptids would then make a civilization out of the readily accessible ice and snow, using what unnatural resources were in the initial village. Belle found it rather difficult to find her footing in the city, as the pathway seemed to warp and spin in every which way. The paths would spiral through with every step. Her feet remained firmly on the ground and felt as if it were the upright side up.
What kind of magic is this? It feels like me senses are all over the place.
Belle said, resisting her body's urge to vomit. It's an adjustment for sure, Rex said, trying his best to move Belle along at a brisk pace. But I'm taking you somewhere that will have something to help you adjust. Slipping into a larger crowd of cryptids and corrupt businessmen alike, the pair would reach the inner city. As they maneuvered through, Belle could tell that the cryptids towered over her. Since all she could see was the ground, Belle marveled each night creature's foot that she could make out. Some had footwear on, and others showed off their grotesque limbs from patchy decaying flesh to overgrown brittle hair. But worst of all, most of them smelled like wild animals. The frost-covered buildings resembled skyscrapers, and the pathways would twist even further into spirals and other geometric shapes. The hustle and bustle of the city, combined with the motion sickness, was not any good for Belle. Her curious ears, without her permission, attempted to decipher the indescribable language of the cryptids. Her eyes glanced at their signs to translate where they were to no avail, and the general commotion heightened her senses to the point where her mind was on high alert and her body physically confused. The combination made her nauseous as she fell to her knees from fatigue. Rex, noticing this at the corner of his eye, took a knee to figure out what was going on.
Rex, I can't take much more of this.
Belle stuttered. It's just a little further. Can you walk? Rex said, trying to hurry Belle along. I know it's rough for you, but we can't stick in one place for too long right now. You gotta power through. Rex extended his hand and helped Belle back up on her feet, now rushing her along while pushing past the crowds. After a few minutes, the pair arrived at a shop which had 24/7 odds and ends plastered on the top in neon lighting. The inside resembled a bodega corner store with snacks, refrigerated beverages, and the like. A cryptid with the head of a deer and the body of a lanky human hunched over behind the register like a statue. It smiled wide from cheek to cheek, in a natural expression for a head of a deer to make. In the far corner of the shop, however, was a wall of ominous-looking masks, all hung from a rack on the wall. There was a relatively wide variety upon the wall. Some masks resembled animals or other species. Some were featureless and had no notable features, and some looked alien in appearance, as if the inspiration was something cosmic rather than mortal. So what's your cup of tea, Miss Belle? Russ asked, looking to Belle for a response. Belle nearly sapped of all of her strength, leaned against an ice cream freezer, taking in deep breaths. She then points to a rather plain-looking mask with no unique features. Rex would take it off the wall and go to pay for it at the register. Rex asks Belle to wait outside for a moment, wobbling with each step. Belle drags herself and her bag back outside.
For my parents,
She groaned. Rex soon returned to Belle, wearing a new pair of red/black shades, mask in hand and paid for. These masks help with that knot in your gut and the pulsing that puncture through your senses the first few times you're in here. Rex said, putting the mask in Belle's hand, face side down. Belle's face furrowed in confusion, looking at the lined thorns along the rim of the mask. They act as both a form of medicine, giving you a form that's more resilient to the adverse effects, though these masks only do that for about a day. Belle stared at the back of the mask, concerned about the horns.
How does it stay on?
Belle asked. Those thorns there, it's like getting pricked from a needle, but it fastens the mask onto your face, Rex said. The masks also come off that way. The thorns come off after the time period's up. Enough questions though. Put it on 'cause you're starting to look green. Belle would hesitate for another moment before putting the mask to her face. Snap, whish, quish. The thorns latched onto Belle's face like the first bite of an apple. The encasement caused a muffled scream to erupt from beneath the mask as she collapsed to the ground. Her head felt like it was being crushed as the mask merged onto her face and began to change the structure of her head from the inside out. Her biology, her entire form, was being forcibly transformed into that of a human's, albeit for the day. Once the hardest of her struggle was done, Rex again took a knee to try and console the pained elf turned human. Should have warned you that the first transformation usually isn't too pretty, Rex said sheepishly, feeling some blame for Belle's pain. Belle hissed in Irish, frustrated, once she gained enough strength to leave the fetal position.
You would think that it would be one thing you wouldn't forget. You're lucky you have experienced something like this with an elven transformation spell.
Belle then thought.
Although it's been a while since I've had to use a type of spell, this mass definitely was no elven magic. It's painful, but not that painful.
Though despite her initial mixed feelings towards Rex, he again helped her. She was still a bit tuckered out, but her senses felt dulled and relaxed, and though her surroundings were still unfamiliar, they were no longer actively harmful. Curious of her new look, she recalled a folk spell she learned from a grimoire when traveling to Italy. Sitting up, she pulled out a bottle of water, opened the cap, and poured half the bottle out. A small puddle, she traced the water, infusing it with a bit of mana. The water began to shimmer and sparkle like polished glass, turning the puddle to a mirror. Belle examined her new form and all. Elven transformation spells limit the user to transform to wild animals or insects, so turning a new race was fascinating to her. She looks just about the same, although now unmistakably human with her rounded ears. A welcome surprise and a good cover for the time being. Sorry about that, really, Rex apologized. I'm just so used to wearing them that I forgot what the sensation was like the first few times.
Is that how you know so much about these masks? From experience, is it?
Belle probed, rising to her feet. That and my aunt actually makes these masks for the city, Rex said. Struck a deal with the mayor a while back, in exchange for the security of her family and friends within the city limits. She would make these masks. She makes the masks you see here, and masks that are a bit more permanent as well.
Permanent?
Belle thought to herself.
How interesting.
Well, in any case, I bet you're hungry. That mask probably kicked your metabolism up to the max while disguising you. I know a spot, though. Rex would be interrupted by Belle.
Let's not actually. We're here on a mission and we have a time limit. I can't wait to eat till we get to where your aunt is. Wow.
You got to take care of yourself at some point, Miss Belle. Come on, it's right around the corner. I'll be buying too, Rex chirped. He darted out the alley for Belle to follow. Conceding to Rex's tempo, Belle would follow Rex to the restaurant next door. The restaurant looked ancient. A late 80s to early 90s themed diner, which had a checkered tile floor and red booth seats. The restaurant was empty, only the sound of clanging dishes being washed by the chef could be heard over the low riff of a guitar bustling from the jukebox in the back. The pair would seat themselves, each in one of the booth seats. Within a few moments, a cryptid waitress approached the table. Welcome to the classic and creepy diner, home of the finest grub in the Rehai city. What can I get y'all started with today? The cryptid had a tall and slim woman's figure that dwarfed Belle's height, from what she could tell. Her body appeared to be made of white clouds, her face entirely featureless, and portions of her head were sectioned off to resemble a ponytail. The red and white diner's uniform covered most of her body, though from her wearing short sleeves it could be seen that her skin shared the same color as her cloudy-looking head. Her name tag had Claudia written in plain text. I have the usual, Claudia, the earthen mac and cheese and a tall glass of water, Rex said enthusiastically. Uh-huh. Claudia would write down the order, then turn to look at Belle. And for you? Initially, freezing at the cryptid looking straight at her, Belle stammered a bit before saying,
The same as Rex, please.
Claudia turned pink. Hun, you know the mac and cheese is pretty big, right? Sure you don't want to share with Rex here? Belle looked at Rex with confusion, then said,
We will share it, so just a glass of water for me then.
Claudia's skin turned blue, motivated to have something to do. Alright then, I'll bring your waters out in a second, Claudia said, taking their menus and walking away to the kitchen.
Rex, how come that cryptid was speaking English?
Belle asked with a puzzled expression. Well, isn't that a bit of a racist remark? I thought the Silver Lining's finest of staff would be more inclusive, Rex said, antagonizing Belle a bit before answering her question. Even cryptids can be bilingual. Besides, it's better for business if you can cast a wide net of potential customers, right?
That's true.
Belle murmured. Plus, to the inclusivity, the businesses around here can jack up their prices, and the customers will be none the wiser. So that's why you don't see a lot of cryptids in these spots, because locals always know where to save their money, Rex said.
Well, if you're a local yourself, how come you keep coming back here?
Belle said, eyebrow raised. "'Cause the mac and cheese are really to die for," Rex said, jolly as ever.
What exactly makes it so special? I don't get it.
Said Belle. In response, Rex listed off the ingredients in the earthen mac and cheese. It seemed that Rex had managed to guess every ingredient that's in the pasta dish with a near 100% accuracy, learning with 100% accuracy after pestering the lion cook for years on the end. The recipe seemed normal at first, though the last ingredient was
Dirt?
Belle's scream garnered the attention of Claudia. Claudia dropped the pack of cigarettes she was fidgeting with, and her cloudy skin turned red. Embarrassed by her outburst, Belle sipped on her water to cool off.
Dirt.
Belle said, quieter, still in disbelief.
I will have to pass on this one, lad.
Miss Belle, you gotta try it. You'd be the first person I know who would, Rex said, pleading with Belle.
Can't imagine why anyone wouldn't.
Belle murmured sarcastically, stirring the lemon in her water. Come on, just one spoonful. You owe me that at least, given that I'm helping you and all, Rex said, using the leverage to try and sway Belle.
Fine, but only one.
Rex was visibly excited at Belle accepting his terms. As the two waited for their food to arrive, they would talk to pass the time while sipping on their waters. Once the food arrived, Belle understood why the waitress asked if the pasta wanted to be shared. The dish was deep and equally as wide, nearly taking up the entire circumference of the table. Belle was shocked, both that the dish was so large and that Rex had the ability to put away so much food all at once. That's the power of dirt, baby. Makes the mac and cheese grow.
You can't be serious.
Belle said in disbelief. That's what the line cook told me. Let's dig in, Rex said, taking the spoon from his cutlery roll-up and ravaging the dish like a hungry wolf. Within a few minutes, and without a pause, Rex had eaten over half the pasta in the dish.
Geez, have you ever heard of the word restraint?
Belle gagged. I tell you, one bite and you won't be able to stop. Come on, try it.
This lad's got me eating dirt in me pasta.
Belle pondered, digging her spoon in for a spoonful.
Hells, why not?
Belle would eat the pasta, and despite everything, it was far too good to pass up. Though unlike Rex, Belle continued at an even and reasonable pace. Good, right? Rex teased.
Serviceable, nothing more, nothing less.
With that, Rex simply nodded and looked outside to the city, while Belle finished her food. While the city was already built with oddity in mind, the occasional interesting face would pop out to Rex within the Rayhigh city square. Though this time, looking outward, he felt a sense of unease. On the street, there was some maniac waving a flashlight around on one of his arms. using it to get the attention of others and to ask questions. Perhaps he was a reporter or some kind of informant getting new stories. Though it would be weird for a cryptid dressed as a cowboy to be a reporter. A cowboy? Who is that? Rex said, squinting his eyes as he looked out the window. Though there was a good distance between them, Rex could make out some of the features of the figure. 6 arms with a humanoid top and a large spider body for legs, almost like a centaur. And the thing is, looks like he has 3 heads and is looking right at Rex. Crap, Rex said, his joviality gone. Miss Bell, we gotta leave now.
Huh?
Bell said before being grabbed by the wrist by Rex as he stormed out of the restaurant. Sorry, Claudia, I'll pay the bill later. Got a jet? Turning red with frustration, Claudia sighed. Disgruntled both by the waste of the food and the fat that Rex dipped on his bill. Despite his good nature, Claudia simply refused to let bygones be bygones. Darn children. Dining and dashing like that? Don't worry about none. I'll foot the bill for a price. A deep southern voice would hit the air, causing Claudia to freeze in place. The cracking of his 6 legs on the ceiling would stop as Claudia looked up towards the cryptid. Good, bad, ugly. Claudia turned purple with curiosity while greeting each of the heads on the spider-like cryptid. I would say it's good to see y'all again, but I'm not supposed to be seeing y'all. We could save the small talk for later. I'm on a hunt. The boy and the girl, which way did they go? And what do you know about them? The head, currently in control of the body, named Good, would ask while taking out a wad of cash and a fat pack of cigarettes from out of thin air. Claudia examined the bride. Her body turned yellow, her mood softening, and she began telling GBU everything she knew. Boy's name is Rex, kin of that vampire that came to the city a few years ago, and I think the girl's name is Belle. I think she's got a mask on too. She acted real skittish while I was talking to her, and there was a faint scent about her, something angelic and almost elf-like, Claudia said with only some hesitation, while she counted and pocketed the persuasive tip she just got. She then pointed straight ahead. Now that's some corroboration. I'll buy you a drink on my way out once we're done here. Good would leave as quickly as he came, a sly grin on his face while he began his pursuit. Sorry, Rex, but y'all know how I feel about leaving a tab open, Claudia said to herself, leaning against the bar. Thank you for listening today. You can read Starry Eyed Fighters Part 1 on Inkitt or Wattpad. Links will be provided in the description below. Goodbye now.